Welcome to episode 3 of the Glitch Pod. I'm your host, Aaron Cohen. We are gearing up for yet another spectacular Augmented World Expo, AWE. I thought people should get to know the man behind the AR and VR curtain a little better and give us some insight into what he is all about. Share some hot AR trends and spill the beans about all things AR. This is a lightning round. Super honored to have Ori Inbar on the show today. Ori, welcome, and are you feeling spatial?
Hey, Aaron, so awesome to be here, and I'm totally spatial at this point. Yes.
Awesome. I love the theme this year. Well, we're going to do, like I said, a quick lightning round of back and forth. We'll start by getting to know you a little bit better. Are you ready to go?
Let's do it.
All right. Ori, what is your all-time movie favorite?
Well, you started with the hardest question of them all because I love movies, pretty much everything by Mel Brooks, Monty Python, Christopher Guest, Jerry Zucker, Kubrick. But if you push me to the corner, I have to choose one. It would probably be Young Frankenstein by Mel Brooks.
All right. And recent show binges you have done?
Well, I have to say it's probably the Three-Body Problem, big future thinking and a very cool headset. So I had to watch it.
Awesome. How about a book you're currently reading?
So I'm currently rereading Rainbow's End by Werner Vinge, who sadly passed away this year. But it's always been my favorite book that really depicts, a future where AR is as prevalent as electricity. So I'm kind of reliving that, re-getting inspired, and again, sad for his passing.
How about your first childhood memory?
All right, it's probably pretty dramatic. I was playing Guess Who with my father. I covered his eyes while he was driving. And, I was about 3 years old. So yes, we did crash into a tree. Nobody got hurt, but it was a pretty first dramatic experience that I remember.
That is the most dramatic childhood memory I've heard to date. Okay, so on the tech side, are you an iPhone or Android guy or neither?
I'm kind of a sucker for Apple. I just like how everything works nicely together, and that also includes the Vision Pro.
All right. So diving a little bit more into augmented reality, virtual reality, what do you think from an augmented reality standpoint? What is your most useful augmented reality app?
So I have to say recently, I've been living upstate New York in the woods, and the two most used AR apps for me right now are one, the plant identifier, and two is the bird singing recognizer, which just work amazingly well anywhere I go. And all of a sudden I can really understand what's around me, connect with it on a much deeper level. So I love that.
That's great. I'll definitely have to leave some links to those in the comments. Okay, how about the coolest AR or VR experience you've ever experienced?
Wow, that's a tough one. I mean, the probably the coolest example of an AR app that just works everywhere on a massive scale and is useful is the Google Maps Live View. And since it's out there, and so many people don't know even about this feature. Anywhere you go, whether New York City or any other city around the world, you pull it up. It doesn't just show you your location on the map, but also gives you directions into where to go with these cool arrows. And it's just amazing that it actually can recognize the buildings anywhere you launch this app and immediately understand where you are and how to direct you. So I love that application.
That's great. I've heard you talk about that before. I really want to check that one out more. I am also surprised. Let's keep going. Best way to explain augmented reality for someone if you have 15 seconds in a really fast elevator?
Ooh, okay. So I mean that the description of what it is has evolved over time because I think by now most people kind of know what it is. But I would say AR is about augmenting reality around you with an overlay of computer graphics, and that can help you understand better the world, become better at anything that you do.
Great. Okay, so back to favorites. What is your favorite video game?
I'm kind of old school. Uh, so, Pong, Space Invaders, Doom, these were kind of my favorite, as kind of growing up. But I have to say, a recent XR game that blew my mind. I played it on a VR headset, like a Vision Pro or not Vision Pro, on the Meta Quest Pro. It's I Expect You to Die Home Edition. It's in mixed reality. You play it in your room, and everything that is happening feels like you can't tell the difference between what's really happening in the room and what's part of the game. So I love that. It's by Shell Games, which has been one of the pioneers in mixed reality games.
I can't wait to check that out. Okay, what's the first thing you do when you wake up?
Wow. Besides kind of washing your face and brushing your teeth, it's actually exercising.
Okay. Uh, Favorite podcast?
It's you, Aaron. No others.
Any you recommend?
I just there's no specific one I go to regularly. It's kind of whatever picks my attention in a given day, based on the topic, really.
How about your proudest moment ever?
Being on this interview with you, Aaron.
Let's see. Okay, we have three questions about advice. So, what advice would you give a young tech enthusiast?
I think that the number one thing is to really try to do something unique, something spatial, not spatial, but special and spatial if possible. But once you're into it, it's really about sticking to it. Having the perseverance to continue with it. Of course, have agility to pivot when necessary, but really try to stick to what you believe in, what you love, and then collaborate with others that are doing the same thing. And that's key to being successful and happy at what you do.
How about advice for say someone that's a startup investor in 2024?
Ooh, okay. So, one of the surprising things we heard from investors this year, just recently, from Andreessen Horowitz, probably the most influential VC out there. And they came out super bullish about XR, saying that it's the most underrated market. And this is the time to invest. This is the time to start a new company. So I think that's probably, instead of hearing it from me, listen to Andreessen Horowitz and jump right into it if you're not in there yet.
Awesome. And final advice question. Advice for new augmented reality or virtual reality founders?
It's the same exact advice I gave to a general tech person. But of course, finding that unique thing within XR, and probably the most important thing I would tell anyone getting into this space is to learn your XR history. Because almost everything you thought of, everything you want to do has already been done to a certain degree. And we're talking about the last 50 years. So there's a lot of track record. Of course, technology has advanced, things have advanced, but if you learn the history, you'll have a much better chance of succeeding.
Who is your personal hero?
So I have to say Mark Billinghurst, kind of one of the AR gods out there, a huge pioneer in AR, not just, is one of the most prolific researchers in AR and VR since, the late 90s, but also, starting off a lot of startups. And he was, one of the investors in Super Ventures, which was one of the first firm dedicated to investing in early stage AR companies. And on top of all of that, probably the most humble, nicest person you could ever find.
Nice. What should a buyer look for when shopping for XR hardware?
Ooh, okay. The easy answer is to the next version. But I think, I don't know. I mean, I feel like although there's a lot of room to grow, a long way to go with hardware, I think we've reached a point where the hardware is good enough to pretty much try anything, build anything, and experience what it's like to actually have an AR or VR experience. So if you have a bit of cash, I would definitely suggest to go with the Vision Pro. Probably the highest quality that I've seen so far. But if you don't have as much, the Meta Quest 3 is a fantastic device.
Okay, so are we going to see a Google Samsung device this year?
Rumors say we should, yes. Rumors are saying, it's the second half of the year. Some people have said maybe during the Olympics in Paris, because Samsung is a big sponsor of the Olympics. But yeah, I mean, it's coming real soon. And what we heard is it's kind of interesting is that Samsung was about to launch it sooner, but when the Vision Pro came out, they said, "Hey, we gotta one up them." So they probably took a bit more time to improve it and perfect it. So we'll see how it goes.
Scrambling. Is the metaverse hype officially RIP?
Oh my God! So when the peak hype of the metaverse was in October 2021, and AWE that year was actually in November. And I played this game show called Metaverse or Schmetaverse because I felt like, it's currently, there's a huge hype around it, but we have to take it with a grain of salt. If you put too much into that basket, then people will get disappointed. And that's exactly what happened. The expectations were huge, and the deliverables were pretty cool, but not as high as people expected based on the hype. So I think that died, probably in 2023. Since then, we hear a lot less about the metaverse. Uh, I mean, I look at a lot of startup pitches, and all the metaverse mentions were replaced with AI mentions. So we're now with the new hype cycle. So it's dead, but the metaverse is not dead. Metaverse is actually doing really well. Over 600 million active users, using it every month, and it's growing, and lots of great companies. So it's going to do well. Just let's not stick to the hype at that level. Let's kind of really see how we can
Bring it back.
benefit from these technologies on a day-to-day level.
In the context of augmented reality, virtual reality, what's your prediction for AI this year?
Well, I don't do predictions, but I think, something that we've seen last year and it's accelerating this year is that AI makes XR better. There's no doubt about it. But I think also XR makes AI more useful and more human in a way. And a lot of the announcement we've seen from ChatGPT or OpenAI or from Google or Apple is about AI that can see, and that is really the intersection of AR or XR and AI, and that's what really makes it interesting for me this year.
Awesome. Let's switch topics back to AWE and do a little AWE rundown. And so first, when and where is AWE in the US?
So AWE USA 2024 will take place in Long Beach, California, our new home in the LA area, June 18 through 20th in the Long Beach Convention Center. And it's a much larger, much nicer area. So we're all excited, and we're also excited to get kind of the Los Angeles metro area join us in a much bigger way. As XR is becoming a major player within entertainment and gaming, we think that's a great location for the event moving forward.
I agree. How is registration numbers looking so far?
It's looking great. Probably the highest number that we've ever had. Even though we switched locations, so many of the walk-ins that would like to join the event on a day off in Santa Clara, California, in the Bay Area, uh, may have to think twice. Do I take a flight or do I take a drive? So we're still not sure how it will behave in the last few days, but it's looking amazing. There's no place like AWE on Earth if you're into AR or VR. It's going to be the biggest gathering of XR people anywhere. But the good news is what we hear from people is that it always feels like a family reunion because it's a lot more friendly than you would expect in a tech conference.
Very friendly. I would not be here today in this industry if it were not for AWE for sure.
There you go. Another success story.
So let's talk about the theme this year. What's the theme and why?
Well, I mean, this year started with a big bang, with the Vision Pro and, Quest 3 getting record sales and everything, all the energy that is happening in the industry. So we kind of describe this year as a breakthrough year for XR. And it happens to be on the 15th anniversary of AWE. So we also want to look back at the history of XR, the past 15 years of the industry, but really the past 50 plus years since this whole thing started. So there will be a lot of history talks. There will be an XR museum. The Hall of Fame of XR was announced recently and will be on display, and there will be some ceremony around it at the event. But I think, the overarching theme is really about getting inspired by over 200 talks by some of the world's top XR innovators and trying out firsthand thousands of spatial demos. So for us, the main theme is you'll feel spatial, we promise. And of course, it's the double entendre of, spatial computing at its best, but also, you feel special, although you're maybe one in 6,000 people.
And I assume you are the one of the keynotes this year as well, as tradition.
That's right. I'm going to kick it off on day one with a surprise. I always try to surprise with a bit of a kind of tech thing. So you have to come and join the event to see it.
I can't wait. I'm trying to pry it from you right now. It doesn't look like it's going to happen.
I can say I'll talk about some of the history of XR as part of it, kind of reaching that 15th anniversary for the event and for the industry in many ways. So that'll be a big part of it. But yeah, expect some surprises too.
What sets AWE apart from previous years, aside from the new location, so that we know what to look forward to?
Yeah, it's a new location, which is, again, bigger. The expo hall is a lot bigger than we were able to get in Santa Clara. And also everything around it. I mean, the parties, the food, the entertainment around the convention center is so much nicer than previous years. But in terms of the event itself, I think really it's the idea that it's the 15th anniversary and you'll have a lot of early pioneers in XR there at the event, but also giving talks about the history of XR. So it's kind of the point I made earlier, which is it's so important to learn everything that came before us because we're standing on the shoulders of these pioneers in order to build the future, not just of XR but of the world.
Have the judges picked the winners for the Augie Awards?
They're hard at work right now. We announced the finalists just a few days ago, and judges have about 2 weeks to go over the list. It's the longest list of finalists that we've ever had, with 120 finalists in 19 categories. So it's a lot of work. We'll give them their time. We want to make sure they spend enough time on each nomination and pick the best ones out there.
Yeah, we don't want to rush them. The big decisions they have to make. What are you? So let's see. Okay, you don't do predictions because I was going to ask you any predictions on any news you think might drop at AWE.
Well, there will be a bunch of news. As traditional to AWE, we do a press preview, kind of a walk through the expo hall where the press can see firsthand some of the bigger announcements, from big companies or some of the smaller ones. So that's at least 20 announcements. And then there will be
Wow.
a bunch of additional announcements at the show. Um, Again, from big companies and smaller companies. The good news is that, this year, AWE is happening after Google I/O has completed and after Apple WWDC is completed. So a lot of these news will already be out there in the wild, and a lot of these companies and developers can benefit from using these announcements and showing them off at the event.
Speaking of Google I/O, everything's all about AI right now. What innovative or interesting ways is AWE using AI for the conference?
Oh, good question. So, first of all, we're using a company called XRAI, which is providing AI-based accessibility for all the talks at the event in real time. So that's, a great way. So, we would replace some of the more analog approaches, and that gives a lot of benefits, not just to the speed and quality of kind of scripting those talks, but also after the event, you can use it to analyze a lot of the content of the talks, find patterns, find things that stand out, and so we'll definitely benefit from that. Outside of that, there's a bunch of activations that we work with, our partners out there. Some face filters, some funny filters, some applications. A lot of them actually use AI in order to generate content that is, fun and relevant. So you just check out the list of activities and activations. You can find a bunch of those.
Sounds super creative. Okay, last question, Ori. With 15 days left, what should everybody be doing to get ready for AWE?
Well, if you haven't gotten a ticket, definitely get one. There's a bunch of discount codes out there from our partners, from our speakers. So there's no reason not to be able to get a ticket. Wide range of ticket prices. And then once you do that, download the mobile app for the event, and that can give you advantages in a few ways. One is you can see the list of all the attendees, search by interest topic, so you can find the people that you really want to meet. You can see all the exhibitors in the expo hall, but most importantly, build your own agenda. There's over 200 talks. It's impossible to see it all. It can be very frustrating. So it's worth it to just go over the list, understand what are the things that you really want to be in person, in real time. And then, of course, you can watch all these videos online on YouTube post event, which is, I spend a couple of weeks after the event just watching everything I missed. But in many cases, you want to, see the speaker in real time. So that's why it's really worth building your own agenda. And of course,
I'm really looking forward to
check around.
meeting
There's
so many people.
There's also a bunch of parties and activations happening around the event. I think LA really gave a lot of energy to creating these parties. So that's going to be a really cool aspect of what's happening before, after, and during the event.
Well, big congratulations to you and the team. I can't wait to go, and congratulations to your whole career. You've just really made a huge impact to the whole industry, and we all thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Aaron. Really appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you so much, and thanks for joining, everybody. Bye-bye.